Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, today I thought that you could join me while I build a platform for a new fuel station that I'm going to be putting up. So I'm going to be building a small platform for the floor, and then Mrs. Alaska Prepper is going to help me put this up. And what I'm doing is I am moving my fuel station back to my property, further away from the house, because I do have a lot of different types of fuels in there. And right now, I think it may be a little too close for comfort. Even though I've had it there for a while now, we're going to go ahead and move it back so that we can clear out the back of our yard and have everything in a corner. Now, for many of you that haven't been following me for a while, I put up a video a while ago when I put this little tent up for my fuel. And it's currently about 25 feet behind my house, which is what they say it should be. However, I still feel it's a little bit too close. As you can see here, I have different types of fuels. I have fuel oil. That's my apocalypse fuel oil, just in case everything goes down, ladies and gentlemen. And all I'm left with is 30 or 40 gallons of fuel oil to heat my house. And of course, I have gasoline. I have several small propane tanks and a few big ones. And what I'll be doing is I'm actually going to be moving all of this to a smaller footprint, but I'm going to try to design it a little bit better so that it can hold everything here with the exception of the big tanks. And we'll show you what we're going to be doing with that. This is probably going to be a 2 or 3 day project. So I'll be moving it all the way from right here. For those of you that have seen my backyard before, you notice that big water tank there. I'll be moving it from there. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. You know what this is? This right now is considered liquid gold. This is the purchase that I decided to make last year, or really early this year, before the price of heating oil and diesel skyrocketed. So I am so very happy that I did that. However, that's not what this video is about. Let's go ahead and show you where I'm going to put it. It's going to go from there all the way over here to this far corner where you see that 55-gallon drum. Is going to be coming right over here, pretty close to the very farthest corner. So I'm going to be putting the frame of the floor up on these 4 pillars, because the footprint of it is only going to be 6 foot wide by 5 feet long, or 6 foot long by 5 feet wide, however you want to look at it. So it's going to be going right there. And the reason I'm putting it up now is because later on this year, my dirt mover, Chief, those of you that know who Chief is going to come in and he's going to put about a 4-inch layer of decorative rock on top of all of this land. That way it allows the snow to run off a lot better without us having to step in puddles and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get to work. Let me show you what I've got for materials. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. This was like finding gold under the snow. Treated wood or treated dimensional lumber. Let's go ahead and show you my little workstation over here. Oh, look at this. Somebody decided to join us. Karma, you want to say hello? Sit. Sit. Good girl. Give me a paw. Oh, you're a good girl. Speak. You're a good girl. Okay. And this here is my little workstation. I've got an old door on top of a couple horses. Got my saw out. And this is some scrap 4x4. Nice little chunk right here, but I don't think that's going to hurt anything. And then I've already got the 2x4s that I'm going to need for framing up the floor. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing 1 foot off center. So 2x4s would be plenty to hold that weight. Let me show you what I got planned here. See if you guys can see this. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and cut the wood. So what we're looking at here, these 4x4s, we're going to go ahead and cut them 5 feet long. So I've already marked it here. I've got another 4x4 here on the ground. We're going to mark those 5 feet long, and these are going to be the ones that the 2x4s will rest on. So let's get to cutting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got all of these cut. This is all we're going to need to frame the floor. I'm going to go ahead and bring these over there to the site. We ended up with 2 of these 4x4s that are 5 feet even. We ended up with 6 of these 2x4s that are 5 feet 8.5 inches. And then we ended up with 2 of these 2x4s that are 5 feet even. And I'll tell you here in a minute why these have to be 5 feet, 8.5 inches. Now here, ladies and gentlemen, is my little donut air compressor. For those of you that don't know, this air compressor has been with me since the first day that I started building our house. And it's been dropped, it's been abused, it's been left out in the freezing cold. For some reason, it just doesn't give up. It must have a big heart. And for those of you wondering, thank you very much for caring. I know some of you are going to be like, AP, are you wearing gloves? Are you wearing safety glasses? Well, I don't have any gloves on because I work very, very slow. But I do have safety glasses on because I'm about to use my nail gun. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is serious. Also when you're cutting wood as well. Let me show you what I've got over here. So I laid this out pretty much how it's going to go. I just tried to find a spot that was somewhat a little bit flat. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat because I want to build the frame of the floor before we actually put it up on the pillars. So in the front, we're going to have a 4x4 that is 5 feet long, along with a 2x4 that is 5 foot long. Same thing in the back. Now the structure that I'm building is going to be 5 feet wide by 6 foot long, you can say. So these 2x4s here are 6 feet long, same as those over there. So what I'm going to do is, when I begin, I'm going to use this 2x4 right here to tack on to the very edge. Let me see if it'll stay on. It's going to get tacked on just like that. Now the reason why these floor joists is what they're going to be, the reason those are 5 feet, 8.5 inches is because when we put that 2x4 on the edge of each of the 4x4 pieces, like I showed you, it's going to steal 3.5 inches from the length of 6 feet. So 3.5 plus 8.5 is 12, which gives us a 6 foot span, and that is what we want. Now let me go ahead and show you my little nail gun that I have here. Now this nail gun is a Hitachi. It's a 21-degree angle, which means that these nails right here, they're laid out at 21 degrees, which is a pretty common angle for nail guns. So I've got my nails. I always mess that up. I got my nail gun. Right, this is my nail gun. This is not the one that I built my house with. I finished my house with this one because the one that I built my house with was a Amazon cheapo that cost like 89 bucks, and it quit about 3/4 of the way through. So what I'm going to do real quick is, as you can see, I don't really take care of my tools too much. I use them, I abuse them, and they always work. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a rinse with some oil, and that should be good enough for the season. I'm not very good at taking care of my tools, but like I said, for some reason I get lucky because they always work when I need them. So let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to put this together. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am wearing my Crocs, but they are steel-toed Crocs, okay? All I'm doing here is putting a puzzle together. First, I'm going to tack on the 2x4 to the top of the 4x4 before I tack on the outside floor joists. Then after I measure where my floor joists are going to go, I'll go ahead and tack those on and try my best to be as close to square as I can before we go ahead with reinforcing the floor structure and then putting our shed on top of it. So it's off by about 1/4 inch, but I'm not sure if you can see this. The wood right there in the middle has a bow going out. So once I push that bow in and even it up, we should be okay. Like I said, if we're off by 1/8 inch, heck, even 1/4 inch, it's not going to be no big deal because you'll see what's going to be going on top of this. So in order for us to fix that little bend down here that I just showed you, I hope that came out all right, we have to be able to bend that board, and I definitely can't do it with my hands. So to get it on there square, all you do is you take your bar clamp, and the width here should be enough to just fit loosely around the board, and then you'll be able to use this for leverage. Let me show you. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm having second thoughts on whether I want to put plywood on top of this or anything on top of this, because the structure that I'm putting on here is actually a pre-manufactured structure that's made out of polyethylene, I think it is, plastic. One of those ones that they sell at Costco that's 5 feet wide by 6 feet long. And it already comes with a floor. I'm thinking that this right here is plenty, 1 feet of center, to put that floor on top of this and then put the structure on top. That'll save me a full 1.5 sheets, I guess you can say, of plywood that goes for about $80 a sheet. So I'm going to think about it, talk to my wife about it, because she's the one that's smart when it comes to that kind of stuff, and see what we decide. But right now, we pretty much have square right now. I don't want to put the floor on it until I get the brackets on those pillars, because the brackets are the 4x4 brackets that these 4x4s will be resting on, right? That's what's going to be going under these 4x4s. And if we decide not to go with plywood on top of this, what I'll do is I'll cut some pieces that will fit in between the joists. That way we can take care of this bow, because I'm not sure if you can tell, but this 2x4 right here has a little bit of a bow going out. So it looks like it has to come in about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch in order for us to be 5 feet from that side all the way to that side, halfway through. And another thing, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I am not a professional. Every time that I do a little building project and I share with you all, I get all of these comments. You should have done this. You should have done that. This is what I am going to need this floor for right here, that I just show you me put together in a few minutes here. I'm going to need it so that it can protect the structure that I'm putting on top of it from the ground. That's it. It's all treated wood, so it should last a very long time, especially being put up on pillars, right? And I'm just going to need it to support the floor of the structure that I'm putting on it, and that is it. There's not going to be a lot of weight in there. I'm guessing there's probably going to be maybe a total of about, I would say, 600 to 800 pounds in there worth of fuel, which is really not that much when you think about it as far as square footage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I am not a professional. Do not do what I do unless you want your entire house to fall down. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. We are back for day 2, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those of you who are wondering, I don't work on these projects all day long. I break them up so that they don't become monotonous, all right? But I do other things throughout the day, in addition to doing my YouTube stuff with you all. That's what I'm doing now. So I wanted to show you the progress. I've already been out here for about an hour or so. I started bringing down some of the supplies that I needed to the working site, and I've elevated the platform here. We've decided to go ahead and not put an actual plywood floor on it, because the structure that we're putting on it already comes with a floor. But I wanted to show you where we're at right now and how you find square, and explain to you what square is. So as you can see, I've gone ahead and, well, somebody helped me with the pillars last night. My shoulders aren't what they used to be, but we've gone ahead and put the floor on top of these pillars with these brackets here that are adjustable. Okay, so if you look at it, it actually turned out a little better than I thought. I'm very certain that this is not level. Okay, I'm very certain that it's not level. However, what I am going to do is, since the long side of this is where the door is going to be, right here. So this is where we're going to be able to walk in. Since the long side is on this side and the door is going to be right here, I am going to see if I can have it tilted back just a little bit, So instead of it being perfectly level, I'm going to try to make it where it's maybe a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch on a downslope, which will be fine. It won't affect anything. And what that will do is this. It will allow any liquids that maybe spill in there to go out the back, okay? And in the winter, if any snow gets in there, when it melts, it'll just roll out the back and go out the back crack, like towards the bottom of the floor. So that's why I want to make it just a little bit unlevel, but to the back side. That way, if anything spills in there, it won't settle, and that it will just go out the back. And if for some reason, like I have some gasoline spill in there for some reason, that it won't pool up in there and build the entire inside of that with gases, but that it will hopefully trickle out the back and then evaporate into the air if that happens. However, in the entire time that I've had the fuel shed that I showed to you all earlier, that didn't really happen. It happened a little bit with those square cans that I had because I didn't plug up the holes. But as soon as I seen that it was leaking a little bit, I went ahead and grabbed them, recycled that gasoline, and then went ahead and pegged up the holes on it, which I showed you that on a previous video, I believe. But that's why I want to make sure that it's not 100% level. But now let's go ahead and check for square. Now what square means pretty much is that all of your corners are going to be at a 90-degree angle. All right, so you're going to have a 90-degree angle at all corners. Well, how can you measure that with a tape measure? Well, for those of you that like mathematics, as I do, it's a very simple formula. It's one of the basic formulas that they teach us in algebra, and that is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Whereas if you take a look at this side right here, all right, you take a look at this side, we can name that side A, right? So we're going to take the dimension of that side, A, which turns out to be 60 inches on the spot, 60 inches exactly. And then we're going to go ahead and multiply that times itself. So 60 times 60 equals 3,600. Now we're going to put that to the side. The other side right there, the long side, is 72 inches. I actually cut it 1/2 inch short, so it's really 71.5 inches. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now that we know that A equals 60 inches and B equals 71.5 inches, we're going to use what's called the Pythagorean Theorem, one of the very simplest formulas in algebra. And we're going to figure for C. So we're going to find out what the square of A is. So the square of 60 inches equals 3,600 inches. The square of 71.5 inches equals 5,112 inches, which equals 8,712. That is what C equals, 8,712. Now we have to find the square root of C, and that will give us the inches of what I believe is the hypotenuse. And that is going to be, that is what our hypotenuse would be, and that is the distance from here all the way to here. All right, so let's go ahead and put this to practice and see if it comes out right. Now, the hypotenuse, I already did the math on this, should be around 93.3, a little bit more than 93.3 inches is what it should be. So here you can see that our hypotenuse is at 93. Let's see if I can close that in. 93 3/8 roughly, all right, which is roughly, 0.3 of an inch, okay? So now the way that we can really confirm that we have our square is if the other hypotenuse, the opposite one, okay, equals the same as this. Now it is respectable to be off by just a little bit, because we can always straighten that out a little bit, and it's not really going to affect anything structurability wise. You can see that we are almost right on the money. Look at that. I think it's pretty much the same. It might be off by 1/64th, but this structure is pretty well squared. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand how that works. I try to explain it as simply as I can. But this is one of the first steps that you want to make sure you do whenever you finish your floor, is to make sure that it is nice and square. Now, this works also with walls. So if you were to be building a structure made out of wood, a wall, you would want to make sure that your hypothesis, all right, I think that's what you call them, hypotenuse. Man, I'm probably wrong, but that's all right. I'll roll with it. You want to make sure that your opposite hypotenuse, they equal the same. That's going to ensure that your corners are 90 degrees and you have a square structure, especially on walls where you're going to have windows. Because if you don't do that on walls where you're going to have windows, then when you put your windows in, they may fit in there, but there may be gaps in different places, all right? And that's just from experience, all right? So right now, let me go ahead and show you what I've got, what I've brought. Oh, kitty cat's over there chasing a mouse. Good girl. So now let me show you what it is that I'm going to put up here, and then I'm going to tell you what our next step with this floor structure is going to be. There's two things that I still need to do to this floor to make sure it's good to go, and then we'll start putting the structure up on it. So I'm not sure if you see this stuff over here, but this is one of those, I'll call it plastic, all right? Same thing, plastic. It's made out of oil, all right, ladies and gentlemen? This is made out of oil. All right, this is just one of those little sheds that they sell at Costco. And they were on sale a couple of weeks ago. So for those of you that have seen some of my previous videos where I had a big box sitting in my driveway and I was putting solar panels on top of it and stuff, that's what this is right here, all right? And it was on sale for like $100 off, and I figured, you know what? This is actually a pretty sturdy structure that I can actually reinforce even better on the inside with some 2x4s on the walls to make sure that if we get a foot or so of snow in the wintertime, that it'll hold enough so that I can at least come and take the snow off. So that'll work out really nice. And I like that it's got a slanted roof, just like my bunker. It's got a roof like that, like a lean-to roof, just like the bunker, which will make it very easy to take the snow off. And since the roof is going to be slanted towards the back, it'll be easy to just take the snow off and just leave it back there without it being in the way for anything. So that's what we're going to be putting up. But the first thing that I have to do before I can even start messing with this is I have to finish getting the floor ready. And there's two things we need to do. We need to make sure that it's level on all sides. I'm pretty certain it's not level yet. And remember, I'm going to leave it a little bit slanted towards the back, so it's not going to be perfectly level. But we need to make sure that it's pretty much level on all sides. And then I also have to reinforce the floor. Since we're not going to put plywood on it, I need to reinforce it by putting some studs in the middle of the floor joist going all the way across, which shouldn't take that long, but let me show you how I'm going to do that. So being that we've got a measurement of 57 from this corner all the way to this corner, all right, 57 inches, and we've got a total measurement of 3 inches when we add up the 4 studs that are in the way, that's 54 inches. So we're going to take 54 inches and divide it by 5 because we've got 5 spaces to fill, and that is how long each of our board is going to be. Okay, remember when I said that I had to subtract 3 inches from 57? That was wrong. That's why you always cut the first one and come and measure it and see if it'll fit in there. It was 6 inches because I was only subtracting from 57 the 2 studs, which is 1.5 inches each. So I had to subtract 6 inches. So the measurement came out to a little over 10 inches per, so it's 51 divided by 5, which comes out to be like a little over than 10 and 3/16. If you want to get technical, it's more like 10 and 7/64, something like that. But as you can see here, I put a straight edge going from here, from this edge right here, all the way to the other edge over here. This is a very straight board. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten this bar clamp until it's pretty even with that straight edge. Because as you could tell, they had a nice little bow in the middle. I'm going to put one here and here. I'm going to measure it so it can be even from each side. But I'm going to put one around here, here, and then every other one in the middle. So there's going to be one here, one there, one on the other end. Same thing over there. Here, and then here in the middle we're going to have 1, 2. So I'm just going to measure it, that way they'll be nice and spaced out correctly. As you can see, this one here is a little crooked, but I still got to move this one over. I'll do that and then we'll come back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the subfloor, with the exception of leveling it. I'm going to take a break. I actually have a meeting that I have to attend, so I'm going to go cleaned up to take a break. And guess what? Today I am going to be doing the shopping for the food bank. So the rest of my day is pretty much used up. I'm going to get back to this tomorrow. Yes, this should be like a one-day project, but I break it up in little pieces because I enjoy it that way better. But I'll get back to this tomorrow. We'll level off the floor and we'll start putting our building on it. See how it comes out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. I'm just going to show you not the final product, but I don't want to make this video 45 minutes long, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like after the floor was leveled and the little shed is on it. I think it came out great. So let me go ahead and turn this camera around and show you what it looks like inside and outside. So as you can see, it's a little lean-to shed like I told you before. And it's going to be nice because in the wintertime, I'll be able to go out back, you know, come to the back and scrape the snow off the roof. And it's actually a pretty sturdy little shed. I didn't put this together. My wife and our friend did. Because yesterday when I was done, I was like, I'm done for the day. I am beat. I had a really busy day yesterday. And my wife was like, well, I thought we were going to put that shed together today. And I was like, well, I'm tired. So we had our friend coming over. Ended up helping and putting it together while I was inside just hanging out. No, I don't feel guilty, ladies and gentlemen, but this is what the front looks like. Pretty nice. And like I said, it's a 5x6. However, it's a little bit more than 6 feet long, so I'm going to have to add about 3 inches to the bottom frame just so that I can have some wood under the entire floor. But as you can see, the floor came out pretty decent. Everything is pretty square, so it came out pretty good. Let me show you the back. That's what the back looks like. It still needs a little bit of hardware. Let me show you the inside. So it still needs the locking mechanism put on, which is no big deal. We'll go ahead and do that. I can probably do that, but let me show you what the inside looks like because it's pretty spacious in here. And check that out. So what I'm planning on doing before I put any shelves in here, I plan on running some wood, some studs, all the way up the wall and then across the ceiling to give it even more bracing. So I plan on doing that. And then I plan on building shelves all the way up to the ceiling. Big enough shelves where I can fit my 20-pound propane tanks, along with all of my gasoline containers that I have. My 100-pound propane tanks, what I'm going to be doing with those is more than likely I will end up reinforcing the inside of this little bunker. I'll call it bunker 2. I'll end up reinforcing the inside of this fuel shed with some wood up here, and then building a little lean-to coming off of it. Right around here, and I'll be able to go ahead and put on my 100-pound cylinders right off of here. So yeah, not too bad. For those of you that are wondering how much this cost, it was like $600. I think I got it on sale for like $5.99, something like that. I don't remember. I've had it for a couple of months already, but not bad. And I really like the way that it went up. It went up really easy, especially since my wife and her friend did it. But this is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. I'll fill you all in when I build my shelves and reinforce the roof and put on the lean-to. That way you can see how the final product comes out even after it's stocked with fuel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, thank you very much for joining in. I hope you got something out of this. If anything, a little bit of entertainment. Have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out. Oh, and for those of you that may be asking, why are these tarps out here? I just laid them out so that they can dry up and I can sweep whatever stuff's on them, like dirt or anything on them, off, and then put them away for the summer until I need them somewhere. For some reason, I can't find good tarps like that anywhere. Costco hasn't had them for literally months now. All right, have a great day. God bless you all.